This is Independent Challenge 3 on Word 126. So we need to open the project file, so we can just go to File Open, Browse as needed. If you need to, go to your M drive, Student, Computer Applications 2, Word, Module 5, and 5-2. Those of you who might be working at home, you'll just have to download this from Schoology and unzip it, and it'll be formatted in the same way. So here's what should have opened. And so the next step is, well, first of all, let's go ahead and make sure you have your ruler turned on. So on View, make sure you turn on Ruler. And then secondly, they ask you to display the grid lines. I feel that this is harder to do with the grid lines. We'll put it on just to be following the lesson, but I think it's easier to see without them turned on. So next, let's see, drag the border between the first and second columns to approximately 2 3/4 mark on the horizontal ruler. Resize the second and third columns to fit the text and make the height of each row in the table 0.5. So that's step B. So again, you can see this little icon to select the table, and I'm looking at the drag the border between the first and second columns to approximately 2 3/4. So I'm going to come in here and go to 2 and about 3/4. Then we're supposed to adjust these to fit the text, so we're going to just make it about halfway. So make sure nothing wraps around. Make height of each row in the table 0.5, so I can select the whole table by clicking the table button. I can come up here to layout and then height. I can just put 0.5, enter, and you'll see it automatically spaced it out. That completes letter B. For letter C, change the alignment of the text in the first column to center left, changement of the text in the second and third columns to center right. So we're going to go ahead and select the left column, and we come in here to our layout tool still, and we're going to do align center left. And again, I'm in the table tools, so if you get lost, make sure you're selected on the table to see it. And then these two columns are going to be center right. Let's double check that. Center right, yes. That concludes letter C. Now in letter D, remove all the borders from the table, then apply a 2 1/4 point green accent dotted line inside horizontal border to the entire table. This creates a green dotted line between each row. It gives you a hint of change the pen color to green accent 6 before selecting the line style. So this time I'm going to come to design, and that's a lot of information, so we'll just take it step by step. Remove all the borders. So I'm going to make sure and I select the whole table and come up here to design, and here's all my borders options. So I'm going to come to borders and select no borders, then they're all turned off. I've changed the pen tool already to accent 6, and then it wants me to apply a 2 1/4 point green accent 6 dotted line. So I switch to a dotted line, 2 1/4, and then I come to the borders tool and I do this inside horizontal border, and essentially you're getting a dotted line under each row. So I select that, and now I have a nice dotted row under each one, and all that is in this design portion of table tools right in this border menu. That moves us to letter E. In the second blank paragraph under the table heading, insert a new table with 3 columns and 4 rows, then merge the cells in the third column of the new blank table. So that can be kind of confusing. So essentially it's meaning the second paragraph under the title, so like right here before your new table even starts. and then you're going to go to Insert Table, and let's double check that it's three columns and 4 rows, and then merge the cells in the 3rd column of the new blank table. So I'm going to merge these cells, right click, merge cells. You can also do it up here in your layout toolbar. I just happened to right click at that time. Drag the border between the 1st and 2nd columns of the new blank table to the 1/4 mark. So again, using the ruler, estimate about 1/4. It's about right there. And then drag the border between the 2nd and 3rd columns to the 1/2. So this goes about right there. That concludes letter F. Select the table that contains the text, cut it to the clipboard, and paste in the merged cells into the blank table. The table with the text is now nested in the main table, and that's the key term, is nested. In other words, we're putting a table within a table. So I'm going to come to this table, I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to come up here and paste. Nest table. That moves me to letter H. Split the nested table above the unit size bleed row. So unit size bleed row is down here, so I'm going to click in it, and then I'm again go to my table tools, and this time it wants me to split table, and this is the split table button. I'm in table tools and layout, split table, and essentially it takes out that row and gives me a nice little space here at the top before the different types of bleed. And then next, that moves us to I. Scroll up, merge the 4 cells in the 1st column, and then merge the 4 cells of the 2nd column. So I'm coming over here in these 4 cells, and I'm going to merge cells. Come over here, do the same thing, 2nd column, merge cells. Next, letter J. Split the 1st column into 1 column and 7 rows. So I'm going to go ahead and split cells, 1 column, 7 rows. And I made a mistake here because I accidentally have the 2nd column highlighted, so I can create a lot of problems. So I'm going to cancel, make sure I'm only in the 1st column, split cells, 1 column, 7 rows. So if you notice that you kill it when you split these cells, just undo, because it's a lot of work there to keep going. So now I have these 7 rows. Next, letter K. Using the height box in the cell size group, change the row height of each cell in the 1st column so that they alternate between 1.85 and 0.25 in height. This is where coming and checking this before you start would really help a lot in understanding what you're trying to accomplish, because essentially I'm setting up the graphic that you see in the book where it kind of has a sample of what the page you're paying for might look like when you're buying part of an ad in something like a yearbook. So in this first one, I'm going to go to my row height, and it says up here 0.97, so I'm going to switch that to 1.85, and you can just hit enter. Then come down to this next one, and the height is going to be 0.25. Then you're just alternating setting those up. All right, that moves us to letter I. Add green accent 6 shading to the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th cells in the 1st column. Remove all the borders from the main table and turn off the display of grid lines. The green dotted line borders in the nested table should remain. So we're only applying this change to the main table, not the one that we pasted in. So we want to select, so row 1, we can come here into design, go to shading, and again we want the accent 6 because this is going to match our dotted line. So I'm just going to select these, and again I'm in Table Tools and Design, and then I'm essentially shading all those alternate ones we had set up. 1, 3, 5, and 7, and you should be noticing essentially we set those other ones to have some nice spacing. And then we're selecting this table so it doesn't grab the nested one and turning off the borders. And you should still see the dotted ones. And then we're going to turn off the grid lines. So we're going to go to View and turn off grid lines. So it should be taking form of what you saw in the answer key right there. Letter M, in the first green cell, type full page, change the font color to white, background 1, then center the text horizontally and vertically in the cell. So I'm going to click in this cell. I'm going to type full page. Then I'm going to change the font, come back here, go to color, white background 1, and center vertically and horizontally in the cell. So I can come back to my layout, and right here that centers that up like that. In letter N, in the borders group on the Table Tools Design, change the line style to single line, change the line weight to 2 1/4, change the pen color to white, background 1. So I'm going to come back here to my border, change it to a line, 2 1/4, 2 1/4, and pen color back to white, background 1. Next, we're going to click the Table Tools Layout tab and then click the Draw Table button in the Draw group to activate the Draw table. To activate the Draw Table pointer, then drawing to figure 5-26, we're going to draw a vertical border that divides the second green cell into 2/3 and 1/3. So I'm going to come down here just like the diagram and get it in about thirds. And then I can just draw this. So again in design, I come up here, go to borders, and grab my draw table. Oops, I turned it off. And then it should look like a little pencil. When you click, it should see almost light up. You can see as I click and started drawing it down, you can see that faint dashed line, and when I let go, it colors it in the white. Next, in letter P, label the cells and align the text as shown in the figure, which is 526 on page Word 126. And a hint is change the font color, text direction, and alignment before typing the text because it works way better. Don't change the size of the cells when we type. So you should essentially work down the page and create these ones like we did before, using the same thing with the border and changing the text just like you did in the letter N. So now I'm coming to this one. I'm going to rotate this text like this before I start, and then do the horizontal and vertical center. Come back, check my text, and then I should be ready to place it. Then as we move to the second diagram, again we have to get out our drawing table drawing tool to go ahead and set that up. So it looks like we're going in. Actually, don't follow what I did. I did them backwards. So this should be number no, this is correct. So now we come down here and do number 3. If you're following me, make a few changes here. I had some of the text typed in wrong. Just be careful that you're following the right diagram, because that's the mistake I made here. So I'm going to come back and draw my table again, and this time we're going to draw it in half. And kind of a 6th page here. And then again, switching to our text. And our layout, let's see. Switching here, again, my text. Get the correct color, come back to layout, we're going to flip the text right here, come back to center, same thing here. We can scroll up and we have one more to do. The 4th diagram, again, we're going to go ahead and do the draw table tool here. And this one's a little more complex. So So I've drawn what I'm seeing in 5-26 step or sample 4. I'm going to go ahead and change the font color. Again to layout. I'm actually going to do these all at once because they're going to be the same. So I'm going to come here and get the colors and layout all for each of these. And this one we'll need to come back and change the font color again and rotate it. Text direction rotated, center. And then finally come back to this one. Again, text color. And finally, that's it. So you should have something that's really close to the sample, minus maybe some spacing. I did get a second page under there just from working here, so I just clicked and hit delete, so I'm completed with it. And so that's really what you should end up with, is something very similar to this, and that's displayed in the solutions manual.